Hello everyone, welcome to Guider, your applications guide and IELTS tutor. Today we are going to see IELTS Writing Task 1 tutorial. So here we go. Now this is an IELTS Writing Task 1 tutorial in which we are going to see question of line graph and how to solve it with our band 9 answer structure. Here are some examples which you'll be going through in your exams if you are lucky enough to get a line graph question. And these are some examples. As you can see, these are some trends, some lines going through over the years, and they are indicating some data. Now in this tutorial we will solve a sample IELTS Writing Task 1 question, follow a 9-band answer structure, write the whole answer together in steps, and use necessary vocabulary. I'll be guiding you throughout and we'll be solving this question together. Now we have this sample question here which is a line graph type, and on your left you can see which is a data chart. On your right is your question card. This is a similar type you'll be facing in your IELTS exam if you get a line graph type question. So let us go through the question. The graph below shows the proportion of 4 different materials that were recycled from 1982 to 2010 in a particular country. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So this is our question. Now let us go back to our question card and look neatly at the chart. So we have been given 4 different materials. Their information has been given in terms of percentages. On the y-axis we can see it is a percentage axis, and on your x-axis are the years and the trends. A line graph has been given of these 4 materials. So now after knowing the question, let's start writing the answer with our band 9 answer structure. So here is how the band 9 answer structure looks like. Following this simple format will definitely achieve a band 9 for your answer. So it consists of introduction, overview, and paragraphs which we'll be writing in the subsequent slides. So what exactly is being expected in each of the section, we'll go through it shortly. In the introduction paragraph, give the reader an idea about the topic of the chart in 1 to 2 lines, not more than that. In the overview paragraph, describe some general trends in the graph in 1 or 2 lines. It need not include any figures, years, nothing, just the general information. And in the paragraphs, here I've written paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. There can be 3 paragraphs. Obviously there should not be 1. I'll be guiding you ahead how to categorize your information in paragraphs. Write about specific features describing the details in 2 to 3 paragraphs. Yes. Now that we know our band and answer structure, here are some important notes we should be knowing. In writing task 1, we are expected to describe the graph only and not our own conclusions and inferences. So do not add a conclusion paragraph. Also write more than 150 words. Now let's start with our band 9 answer. Here we go. So this was our question, and starting with introduction. Now as we have seen before, introduction is of 1 to 2 lines, not more than that. What it should include? It should consist of what the graph shows and the time duration of the same. So that's not a trick. The trick is just reform or paraphrase the question statement to get your introduction done. Here we have our question. The graph below shows the proportion of 4 different materials that were recycled from 1982 to 2010 in a particular country. You just have to reform or paraphrase the question and not add anything to it. This will get our job done quickly and save our time. So here is how I did it. The graph illustrates the proportion of recycling of 4 different materials in terms of percentages between 1982 and 2010. Now, what are the key features to note here are, in the question it was given the graph below shows. What I have written here is the graph illustrates. Now, I have replaced the word shows with illustrates. Also to note, I have not changed the word graph. Please do not change if it is given the data graph below, the pie chart below. You need not change it. You just have to keep it the same. Here it was the graph below, so I've literally written it the same way, the graph illustrates. Now I've changed the word shows with illustrates. You can use many more such synonyms like shows, illustrates, denotes, gives information about. You can use any of these and just try to reform the question. Going further, the graph below shows the proportion of 4 different materials. Now what I've written here is the proportion of recycling of 4 different materials. I've added the word recycling here, and as I said before, this is just the part of rephrasing the question. The next thing is what I've written is in terms of percentages. I've added this thing in between which is not mentioned in the question, but we have observed that on the y-axis there are percentages written, so the graph is denoting as the percentages over the years, so I added this thing in terms of percentages. The next change was from has been changed to between, so it was from 1982 to 2010. I've made it between 1982 and 2010. So this gets our introduction done, and here is the final look of it. So we have done our introduction part, and now it is time for the overview part. In this paragraph, describes some general trends in the graph in 1 or 2 lines. An overview paragraph is a must to score band above 6. So let's take a note of this. Here we go. Now, for the overview paragraph, we must summarize the idea of the chart. The general trends must be observed. A list of prominent features must be made. 2 to 3 being in general. No numbers or figures shall be included, as it is an overview and not the description. So here we note down some prominent features. Every material has an overall increase in the given time span. As you can observe, for the paper and cardboard material, which is the topmost line trend, it was 65% in 1982, and in 2010 it is about 70%. So there has been an overall increase, and for the other materials it is very much clear that there has been an increase in that given time span. The next observation is there were some fluctuations in this overall increase. It was not a clear increase, and there was some fluctuation. Next thing is the highest and the lowest rates. The highest rate was of paper and cardboard, as it is clear that it was 70% in 2010, and the lowest is for plastics, as it lies at the bottom of the graph, which is even less than 10%. So prominent features list done, and here it is how I wrote my overview paragraph. Let's go through it once. Overall, the recycling rates of all the stated materials increased in the given time span, although the rates were different for each of them, with some fluctuations in the data trend. The highest recycling rate was of paper and cardboard, whereas the lowest was of plastics. So here is my overview paragraph. Now let us note some key features of it. So the very first and important key feature is always start the overview paragraph with the word overall and a comma. We are noting this down here. This will let the checker know that you have started writing your overview paragraph. So going further, the recycling rates of all the static materials increased in the given time span. So I have noted my first prominent feature in my overview paragraph. Going further, the rates were different for each of them with some fluctuations in the data trend. So here I note down my second prominent feature. I end this sentence here and I start a new one which is dedicated to our third prominent feature. The highest recycling rate was of paper and cardboard, whereas the lowest was of plastics. Now, general observation can be made that I am writing the information in past because it is 2021 today, and I am summarizing some information which lies in the time span of 1982 and 2010. So, we have completed our overview paragraph, and now we move further to our paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. So what we should include in here is describe the data in detail with figures, categorizing in different paragraphs. Now how this categorizing should be done, I'll guide you through. Description must be written in sequence. Paragraphs must be constructed in a way such that grouping must be observed. It may be in a similar trend or in opposite fashion. This will help in giving the information more efficiently. Points must be introduced logically and in flow. All these rules must be followed to score as per one of the IELTS writing criteria, which is coherence and cohesion. Ideally, the information must be written in 2 or 3 paragraphs. It should not be 1 and it should not be more than 3. Now, here we proceed with the categorizing. First is paper and cardboard and the glass containers. We have categorized them as they both have fluctuations in their trend. And the next category is of aluminum cans and plastics, as they both have continuous increasing trend. So we have categorized our 4 materials in a grouping of 2 with these reasons. So we'll dedicate paragraph 1 for our grouping 1 and paragraph 2 for our grouping 2. Now here we have to include the maximum of information we can extract from the paragraph, including figures which we had not done in our overview paragraph. Let's proceed. Here is how I wrote my paragraph 1. Let's go through it once. In 1982, about 65% of paper and cardboard was recycled. With some fluctuations in gradual years, a highest recycling rate in the given span was observed in 1994, which was about 80%. Although after that the rates gradually decreased, a rate of 70% was attained in 2010. For glass and containers, the initial storage remained almost the same as that of the paper and cardboard material. The rates were 50% for recycling and reduced for 2 consecutive years thereafter by a total of about 10%. However, from 1990, the rates started incrementing almost linearly to achieve a proportion of about 60% in 2010. This completes my paragraph 1, and now we'll analyze it. The first thing is, we have been given a graph where the figures are not really clear. As for 1982, we can observe that the point lies between 60 and 70. So we don't have a clear idea what exactly might be the figure. So we are using the word about. 65%. This denotes that you are approximating or guessing the percentage. This is a good habit to write in the IELTS answer when the figures are not clear. Proceeding further, about 65% of the paper and cardboard was recycled. With some fluctuations in gradual years, a highest recycling rate in the given span was observed. Now, I am describing the paper and cardboard paragraph, and I must describe it on the basis of some prominent features. I did not explain the fluctuations very deeply because that would have costed me a lot of words. I just wrote that there were some fluctuations in gradual years, but it attained a highest in 1994, which was about 80%. I have again used the word about, and I have used it throughout my paragraphs. Please take a note of that. Proceeding further, although after that the rates gradually decreased, a rate of 70% was attained in 2010. Now I have used the word although, and it is very important that we make use of such words. It is a good practice to use words such as although, however, as it gives a good flow to your writing and a feeling of cohesion is being developed. So, although after that the rates gradually decreased, a rate of 70% was attained in 2010. For glass and containers, the initial story remained almost the same as that of the paper and cardboard material. So I have used the phrase story remained almost the same. I use this because it saved a lot of words for me. I have related my information of glass and containers to the information of paper and cardboard, as there were some fluctuations observed in paper and cardboard too. The same have been observed, or almost the same have been observed in the glass and containers part. That saved a lot of words for me, and also this is a good play of words. It will impact your writing in a good way. Proceeding further, the rates were 50% for recycling and reduced for 2 consecutive years thereafter by a total of about 10%. I have to use the word reduced. You can use various such synonyms for reduce, like reduce, decline, gradually decreased, decrease. These are some synonyms you might use in your writing. Proceeding further, and reduced for 2 consecutive years thereafter by a total of about 10%. Now take a note of this. I have been writing the exact percentages or almost the approximate percentages in my paragraph from start. What I've done here is I have given the span of increase. I have not written that the count was this, the percentage was this. I've written the increase. There was a total increase of about 10%. This is a good habit to write, and you must include it in your writing. However, from 1990, the rate started incrementing almost linearly to achieve a proportion of about 60% in 2010. Again, I have used the word however with a comma. So, here we complete our paragraph 1 for IELTS Writing Task 1, and now we proceed to paragraph 2. Here we have to write information about aluminium cans and plastics, as it was part of our grouping number 2. So, let's go through this ones. An overall increasing trend was also observed for aluminium cans, starting from about 4% in 1986 and rising exponentially to about 45% in 2010. Whereas for the plastics, the graph exhibits a gradual increasing trend with negligible slope from about 2% in 1990 to about 9% in 2010. So, what are the key features here you must take note of is, and the fourth line, I have used this expression rising exponentially. As I said, for the declining or reducing or decrease, these are some synonyms. You can also include your information or explain your information in this fashion, that if your increase is way too high or there is a very drastic increase, very tremendous increase, you can use this expression as rising exponentially. It is not rising linearly, but it is rising tremendously. Or you can say that it is decreasing exponentially, it is decreasing tremendously. In the next sentence, whereas for the plastics, the graph exhibits a gradual increasing trend with negligible slope. Now for the plastics, we can say that the slope is very negligible. It is increasing over the period. It has started from 1990 and till 2010 it has increased, but it is a very gradual increasing trend. It is not exponential as it was for aluminum cans. So we have included our information in this manner. With negligible slope from about 2% in 1990 to about 9% in 2010. Also, I've used the word whereas. As I said, you have to include these words to make your information look more in a flow. It makes your information look more expressive. So here we are done with our paragraph 2, and this completes the specific details paragraphs, and so does our band 9 answer. So here is how our entire answer looks like. First is our introduction paragraph, then comes the overview paragraph, then is a specific details paragraph 1, specific details paragraph 2. This is a full band 9 answer. It consists of 217 words, which is more than enough for a minimum requirement of 150 words. So, why will this answer score a band 9? Information is present in the standard format which we followed our band 9 answer structure. There is cohesion and coherence in the information. We have written our specific detailed paragraphs by grouping our 2 materials in first, 2 in the second, and written the information in a flow. Simple yet elegant language is used, which makes the description look more informative. Use of words like however, although, thereafter, whereas make the sentences look more interrelated and ideas appear to be written in a good flow. Not just heavy English words will score you a band 9, rather they are not even needed. Just these simple rules will make you score the maximum. Wishing you all the very best for your exam. If you like the video, like it and share it with your IELTS study mates. If you like the content, consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching.